Today I've got a new guest, gentleman I've been communicating with. I wanted to share with all of you. Tom Moore. He is the founder of Autoscheduler. This works for warehouse management systems, and it allows you to streamline all processes throughout the warehousing system.
Yeah, and so how do we maintain that consistency across the whole environment?
Yeah, that sounds pretty impressive. I think the industry's always been hurry up and wait, right? For a carrier. Yep, you're here, you have a 9 a.m., it's 9 a.m. Go on out there, we'll come get you when we're ready for you. But then you didn't have a 9 a.m., right?
Right.
If I'm here at 9, I'm ready to load at 9, I should be going into a dock, right? No, that's not how it works. But I think technology is adopted by the big budget shippers and companies first, more so than the smaller, the more private companies that maybe don't have a huge budget for technology set aside and values. So marketing to them is going to be different, right? So it's going to be about scalability and what does it look like? How are you thinking that would look?
Well, first of all, let's look at the categories of folks. There are the companies like a Procter and Gamble, which is just straight a pioneer. They're prepared to try something, see if it works, carry on. So we've been working with Procter for a number of years, and Autoscheduler was something that a few of us dreamed up sitting in an office in Greensboro, North Carolina, basically to say, hey, how do we solve this problem of scheduling the dock? Okay, it was very straightforward problems to solve. Well, we developed from there into if we schedule the dock this way, then we have to schedule the case picking, we have to schedule the unloading, we have to schedule all the other pieces. Everything was contingent on something else. So that's how we got into this. Okay, so they're the pioneers. Then there are I'll call them the fast followers. The fast followers are people who, hey, I see that Procter's doing this. If Procter even allows you to announce it, which they didn't for a number of years. But I see Procter's doing this. They are pretty savvy guys. We should learn from them and follow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see the can you tell me if and absolutely guarantee me that I will save $1 for every dime I invest with you in the software business? Okay, well,
Guaranteed return, right?
yeah, well, and I understand the desire to have a return. But and I know you can't guarantee anything because anything you don't have full control over, and you never have control about how people adopt things. And some people, you can train them, you can teach them, you can get them saying yes, 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 and then they go back to their old ways because they see the problem. And I'll give a classic example of this. One of our clients made admixtures, products that go into concrete, and it makes the concrete set faster, set slower. But one of the things they developed was they have these automatic curb making machines for the sides of roads, and historically you put concrete into this machine, it kind of moved along, out came a curb at the back, and somebody stood behind it and polished up the stuff, and just to make sure all the holes were there were filled in. And then they added this new addition to the concrete, and it started to smoothly flow. Well, the guys who were doing that patching, they stood there and they watched it and they said that was a great day. And then they suddenly realized, oh, I'm going to be out of a job. So now they started finding the proverbial small excrement in the pepper, and you now have a situation where people kind of worry about their jobs. So I think one of the things that's very important to say in any new system implementation is, look, nobody's going to lose their job over this. And particularly in a warehouse environment where turnover is so high, we should never let anybody go because you put in a system that makes life better for everybody. Okay, absolutely never.
The thought process was, I'm going to obsolete myself at some level. and nobody wants to be obsoleted, and they all need a job. Everybody's got a family, right, etc. I can see that, but I think at the end of the day, whether your staff shouldn't change, everybody's can benefit from the efficiencies that this promotes and drives.
Absolutely. No doubt
So,
about it. But, again, you and I aren't sitting down there making a decision of, well, are these guys going to let me go off? So they don't need two people doing this planning on first shift and second shift and third shift. If they can go from 6 people to 3 people, boy, that would seem to make a lot of sense, right? And again, God bless Procter and Gamble, great company. They came back and when we went from 6 people to 3, they made sure those other 3 people had good jobs.
right. I think that's the approach. You say, hey, you know what? I'm going to reutilize my people. I'm going to say, who's got what skill sets out of the 6 that might be going to 3, potentially, and I'm going to take the 3 that maybe fit a different role also, and put them in that position so that they can drive more value for our organization. Common sense.
Common sense. Not
Not
always
a
common.
not a hatchet routine. You help everybody up.
And the win-win is certainly with Autoscheduler. It's not super expensive on an annual basis. It is the reduction of labor it would be a nice addition, but just you're making the operation so much more efficient and smoother. For example, we looked at worked in a warehouse in California, and we calculated the amount of forklift driving we saved in 1 week was the equivalent of driving a forklift from LA to San Francisco. Think about
Wow.
that. LA to San
Wow.
Francisco eliminated in
Every
driving a
week.
forklift.
That there's a cost with that.
A huge cost to that. Okay. Huge cost. And again, you come to a warehouse environment, warehouses, unfortunately have seen a huge turnover rate. And that turnover enables you to be smart about how you manage around people.
Absolutely. And all of this is all part of the auto scheduler platform that you have.
That is correct.
Now, tell me about warehouse optimization.
About 30 years ago, we started working with P&G, Procter and Gamble, and they said we need to work on how to do case picking and truck loading and provide detailed instructions to the people who are actually picking the cases up and putting them on a pallet, and the people who are picking up the pallets and putting them on the truck. And we want the trucks to be legal. We want them to be damage free, all those other things. And we developed the technology behind doing that. But we soon realized that, hold on, we're working at the warehouse. We're dealing with orders that somebody has written somewhere upstream. And if we could write those orders to be more efficient, that would be really good for the warehouse, but it would also be good because we could actually physically get more product on a truck. Okay. If we can write an order that can load a truck to within 98% of its capacity and do it legally and do it so the axles are appropriate first time, then what a huge benefit that is to everybody. Okay. So it's one of those win-win-win kind of environments. Win number 1 is the person who is loading the truck doesn't get yelled at for having to do a reload, right? Win number 2, the shipper saves money. Okay, we save somewhere between 5 and 10%. So it's ultimately shipping 5 to 10% fewer trucks. I'll come back to how that impacts the carriers as well. The third piece on that is it's a win for the environment. Okay, we're really not shipping and creating as much carbon. And win number 4 is it really is a win for the carrier. And you go, oh God, hey, you were shipping fewer loads, right? Well, how many hours get wasted when a truck goes over the scale? We weigh it. Oh, it's not right. We come back. Da 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 da. Okay. And I guess win number 5 becomes a win for the ultimate customer because they were expecting this amount of product, and none of it had to be cut at the dock because the axles were over. Okay. So
less trucks in and out of their facility. It's a win from every perspective.
it is. And people say, well, don't carriers get upset? Well, carriers obviously, over the years, my experience is that they're always very quick to say how strong they are in terms of carrier of truckload capacity when they're in the bid process. And once they've secured the business, gee, those trucks have magically got smaller or heavier or something since then. But the reality of the situation is, you look at some of the high class shippers, and Anheuser-Busch, who's not one of our clients, by the way, just to be clear, they're probably the gold standard. They have built into their warehouse management system, 30 years ago, how to load a truck and how to maximize it. They're shipping to their distributors. Their distributors have got kind of a standing arrangement with them. So if that truck comes back from the scale and it's not heavy enough, it comes back and they throw an extra pallet on. We did an analysis of weigh in motion scales, and trucks see these signs on the side of the road saying weigh in motion scale. At 65 miles an hour, it's measuring the weight of all the axles and measuring the weight of the truck, etc. And we did an analysis on this, and when I got the data from the Georgia Department of Transportation, I said, "Hey, how do you know this is valid? That the scales are calibrated?" So, well, very simply, when an Anheuser-Busch truck goes over the scale, if it doesn't register 80,000 pounds, we go and get the calibration and start working on calibrating the road. So when we looked at this data, and we looked at a couple 100,000 shipments that were weighing out the truck, and we found that more than 90%, it was like 92%, are quite some distance away, thousands of pounds away from what the truck's capacity would be in total. If we're looking at the 80,000 pound rule going across the road, only 8% came within 1,000 pounds. Okay. So we're leaving money on the table because we're not filling up our trucks. Simple as that.
If you're a shipper and you're an Anheuser-Busch or someone like that, that's sending massive volumes of the same weight product, same dimensionally, most of the time when you buy a product from them, it's going to be consistently the same number of items in it, and it's going to be packaged the same way, the same size. I think that is a huge opportunity for consistency. Tom, we're going to cut it off right there, and we'll pick up next week. Thanks for watching. Stay in your lane. Tom, thanks for being on. Everyone have a great day.
Continue watching on the next episode of the Stay in Your Lane podcast.